Tyler Perry, can we get a romantic comedy or a comedy? Because all these movies about abused black women, they're getting kind of tired. Coming to paperback and e-readers, Spinsterella Goth Girl Summer. Take a trip into the macabre world of goth modeling in the new millennium in this all-new Spinsterella story. Pre-order your copy of Spinsterella Goth Girl Summer at Amazon.com and other online booksellers everywhere. Better get the coleslaw, y'all, cause we're having us a barbecue. Just took a look at the trailer for Tyler Perry's new Netflix movie, Straw. And after looking at the trailer for Straw, I'm at my last straw when it comes down to Tyler Perry and his narrative as related to abused black women. Now, Tyler Perry's Straw is supposed to be a film starring Taraji P. Henson as a single mother whose life falls completely apart as she deals with a series of unfortunate events and finds herself robbing a bank and being accused of a crime she didn't commit. And as I look at that trailer, I wondered if Tyler Perry was the one who needed to be committed, because it seems like the only narrative he can tell as related to his stories are stories about black women being abused, either by some big black dark-skinned brute of a black man, or being abused by society. Now, Tyler Perry is basically part of what I call a group of a consortium that are basically looking to go out here and present a narrative of black people that fits the anti-black racism that many people want to see regarding the image of black people. And he, Oprah Winfrey, Lee Daniels, and Curtis 50 Cent Jackson Esquire basically look to present these narratives that look to present black people in the worst light. And I have to wonder when people will get tired of Tyler Perry movies, because when I looked at Straw, it was my last straw as related to Tyler Perry, because I just get tired of seeing these type of stories that present me with this whole narrative of black women being abused, black women constantly being abused movie after movie, and presenting us with no sort of balance as related to the picture of black life. I mean, when I look at us, we've had over 20 years of these Tyler Perry movies, and in almost every one, we've got this black woman, again, being presented as poor, miserable, and downtrodden, or even if she has money, she's still shown as miserable, and her life basically being at its worst. And the only people who would possibly see this as entertainment are mainly, I believe, white people who basically want to go out here and get their jollies by seeing a black person being at the bottom of the world. Because when it comes down to many of these mainstream media types, they love seeing black people being in a down and miserable position. But I'm really at the point where I'm just, again, absolutely tired of seeing these type of movies, and especially from a guy like Tyler Perry, who exaggerates things and takes them over the top without giving us any sort of balance. Because when he presented the trailer for Straw, it was just absolutely, again, bordering on ridiculous. This woman is a single mother. She's living in a really shabby way. She's lost her job. She's been evicted from her apartment. And all she wants to do is go out here and get some money for it to pay for some medicine for her child. But we don't get any sort of context. And this is the thing that really aggravates me about Tyler Perry movies, is we get no context as related to that story to give us any sort of perspective of how this woman wound up in this situation. No, all we get is a story presenting her as this hapless victim. All these horrible things happen to her without any sort of context, and without any sort of context to show any sort of accountability or responsibility. Again, really takes us out of the story. Again, everything in Straw was all about, again, attaching your heartstrings and making you feel, oh, this woman is being done so bad by society, but not ever looking to, again, present us with any sort of context to show us, okay, what led up to all of these choices, what led to her winding up in this situation, why did all of this happen? I mean, when I look at other movies that like Tyler Perry wants to copy, like John Q or falling down. There was some balance and context to show us why this happened. But with Tyler Perry, all we get is another abused black woman, and I'm basically tired of seeing all these abused black women in media because it feels like a psyop campaign on black women ever since about 2001 when Halle Berry won the Oscar for Monsters Ball, the first film that I believe started this entire narrative of the abused, miserable black woman. I mean, when Halle Berry won the Oscar and this was validated, what was happening here was the white media wanted this to be the narrative, and Tyler Perry and Lee Daniels and Oprah Winfrey and Curtis 50 Cent Jackson Esquire have been pushing this narrative to present the black woman as this hapless, perpetual victim of constant abuse, this hapless, perpetual victim of constant abuse inflicted on her in basically every movie. And in every movie, she's shown to constantly be abused. And like Professor Black Truth has said, that this media is about programming and mind control. And sadly, it's basically, I believe, messed up the mind of a generation of black women, to basically make them believe that abuse is normal for black women in relationships. Abuse is perfectly fine, that your place is lower in society. I mean, this is the ideas that are being programmed in the minds of the sisters, and I have to wonder when people will break their mind control and start to see how toxic this media is, because we don't see none of these type of movies featuring white, Hispanic, or Asian actresses all the time. I mean, we don't get to see every movie with a white woman constantly being beaten up and having to deal with all sorts of misery. We don't see her constantly being abused by white men. We don't see her at a final straw. No, when we see stories about white women, we see them in all sorts of different type of stories, like romances, romantic comedies, dramas, and thrillers, and all sorts of comedies. We get to see white women, Hispanic women, Asian women having rich, multidimensional lives. But in the case of black women, we just get an onslaught of these type of movies that show us black women living the worst kind of life. And that's why I have had my final straw with Tyler Perry many years ago. I threw my hands up with him back in 2009, a long time ago, because I saw that he did not want to change. And what he wants to do is continue perpetuating this narrative of victimization. And what's really sad to me is that many black women will go out here and look to support this type of media, not seeing that it's programming them with a toxic frame of mind as related to their perception of self, and makes them believe that the only place for them in society is to be miserable, and miserable in the company of society that basically has them thinking that their lives are sad and lonely. I mean, that's what Tyler Perry pushes in most of his films, that your life is sad and lonely, and has you fitting yourself into this box as you're spellbound by his media to think the only thing you can be is miserable in society and not see the larger picture of the world that you're in. That was something I went in depth on in one of my novels, Spellbound, where I had the Matilda Crowley character who thought she was in a hopeless situation as related to fitting herself into a black box that was acceptable to white people, but then started to leave that box and see that larger world. And I wonder if we'll ever get to see a larger world as related to black film these days, like the golden age we had from the 1980s to the early 1990s, when black men who were in charge of it, like Bill Cosby, Robert Townsend, the Hudlin brothers, all these different filmmakers were giving us a richer picture of life. I mean, I miss that era of film because we got to see different pictures of life. We got to see comedies, we got to see romantic comedies, we got to see action movies, we got to see intense dramas, we got to see historical dramas like Posse and Panther, and we got to see a richer picture of black life. And in that richer picture of black life, we saw thin, attractive black women out here enjoying life, and again, being a part of a bigger world than the one Tyler Perry has basically concentrated black women into. I look at the world that Tyler Perry has concentrated black women into, and sadly, many sisters, they don't see that they can be a part of a larger world like I produce here on the SJS Direct imprint. I mean, when I go out here and I write stories, I can look at the world and see a larger world of black women and see a world of thin, attractive black women who are happy, black women who are enjoying life. Yes, they may have problems and obstacles in their life at a certain point, but they still have a love of life and their things are optimistic. I mean, I can go out here and I can write comedies like Spinsterella or A Recipe for Success, or I can write comedy dramas like All About Marilyn, or I can write a sorority novel like The Thetas, or fantasy stuff like the ISIS series or the Esteem series, and again, or stories like The Temptation of John Haynes. I mean, I can write all those type of stories, and I wonder, why can't Tyler Perry write any of those stories? Critical question I would ask Tyler Perry if I got face to face with him. I mean, why is it that I can go out here and write a larger world of black women who are living all sorts of different lives, but in Tyler Perry's world, every woman is being beaten up and abused. But in Sean James's world, the women aren't being beaten up and abused. No, the women in my stories show you women who have to take ownership of their choices, and take responsibility for their choices. I mean, just this week, I'm launching a book, Spinsterella Goth Girl Summer, and as I wrote that story about Matilda in the year 2000, I focused on the context of Matilda and the choices that she made, and the ownership of those choices that she made as related to that story. And in that story, everything is light and fun. And it's just, again, it's a breath of fresh air compared to what you're getting from Hollywood, which is just nothing but misery all the time. I mean, all you get when you watch black movies these days, as related to Tyler Perry and Oprah Winfrey and Lee Daniels, is, again, just nonstop abuse. Again, and watching that stuff is, again, it's worse than a horror movie, because at least with a horror movie, you know it's not real. But with this type of stuff, you think that this is the ideal for your life, and it's not. Doesn't have to be the ideal. You can make choices to make your life better. And again, this is what I put in my media is, again, you can make better choices. You can go out here and live a more abundant life like God wants you to live. You can go out here and, again, you don't have to be miserable as related to the choices that you make. No, you don't have to be miserable at all. And again, not every guy out here is a violent, abusive guy. There are quality brothers out here, and I put that in my stories. There are situations where you can, again, have a compelling story, but it's all about the choices that you make. And I think people just need to start to choose to not watch Tyler Perry movies, because, I mean, I look at this movie, Straw, again, it's not a good film. It's just more misery on top of misery. More misery on top of misery. I mean, the last film he made with Corey Hardrick was just painful to watch, because, again, yeah, Tyler Perry knows how to put emotion on screen, but he doesn't know how to put a story there that teaches you that as a black person that you have hope, that there is love. I mean, his stuff is no different than the literary canon that white supremacy pushes in public schools. I mean, many of those books that are a part of that literary canon in public schools, all you see are black people losing. And I believe it's time for us to start looking at media where we win, because in order for us to see ourselves as winners, we have to read stories where we win. And you can't read a bunch of stories where you're always losing and watch movies where you lose and get a winner's mindset. No, that's where you got to go out here and pick up some positive material, because positive material's going to help you get a better understanding of yourself, get a better understanding of the world, so that you don't wind up in that box thinking, oh, all the thing that black people can do is lose. Only thing we can do is die. Only thing we can do is go to jail. Only thing we can do is fail. I mean, that's what I see in Tyler Perry movies. Again, you see everybody's just constantly women getting hit, women getting knocked down. And again, the only way that they can solve problems is, again, to either kill the black man or to basically see the black man go to jail. Again, everything is about blaming black men, but you're not seeing any sort of balance as related to things to say, like I do in many of my books. Like, for example, in the book A Recipe for Success, Cassandra Lee basically learns that, again, she has to take ownership as related to her life after her boyfriend is found on the down low. She basically makes a decision, okay, if I want a better relationship, I have to end this one, not sit here and be in a codependent situation with constantly dealing with abuse. And in my recent book, Spinsterella Goth Girl Summer, again, Matilda has to end a relationship because it's not working, and again, decides to end it basically because she sees it's not going to go in a certain direction as related to things. That's what women who are responsible go out here and do. In many cases, they say, okay, this is not working. I'm going to go out here and take charge and take ownership as related to things and not be a punching bag or a pinata, because that's something that you may do by choice. But again, if something's not working, I have a right to walk away. But Tyler Perry, is just something is wrong with him, because every story, every woman is constantly being abused. And that's really messing up a lot of girls, because they're thinking this is normal when it's not normal at all. No, it's not normal for a man to put hands on a woman. It's not normal for a woman to believe that it's okay to be abused, because they don't put that narrative in movies with white females or even Latina females. I mean, the last type of story we saw with that was Sleeping with the Enemy back in 1988 with Julia Roberts, as related to white women. And the last time we saw it in the theaters with Jennifer Lopez with Hispanic women was Enough. And again, that movie's over 20 years old. The other one, Sleeping with the Enemy, is almost 40 years old. Now, there were some Lifetime movies that came out, but again, those movies were over 30 years old at this point. But with black women, we constantly see this whole narrative as related to abuse. And again, I don't believe that that's the cultural norm. No, we have to go out here and create new black media. And that's why new black media like SJS Direct is important, because you get to see a new narrative as related to black people, a new narrative as related to the stories of black people, a new narrative that balances and humanizes black people's images and shows the humanity of us, and again, shows our picture of us out here as we are, as again, living a richer picture of life. Because when I looked at Tyler Perry's movie, it was Straw, again, that was just, it was the last straw for me, because we're not getting a picture of black love or black on black love. And the ideas that he presents basically in this movie, oh, this black woman's at her last rope. She's basically, again, just out, her life is out of control. Again, you as a human being do have a right to, again, control things. You are responsible for yourself. So I can't, I mean, that's what I can't stand about Tyler Perry movies. He basically, everybody never has to take ownership. Many of the women never have to take ownership of their choices, never have to take ownership of their actions, never have to say, okay, this is something that I'm doing to myself. This is something that I'm putting myself into, and I can make a change. I mean, this is something I put in SJS Direct books all the time. All the characters they take ownership of their choices. The women have to realize that, again, you have to take some ownership as related to things, and take some ownership as related to things, because this is your life. God gave you this life, and whatever it is, you're supposed to make something of it. But with Tyler Perry movies, it's the same thing all the time, constantly telling me, oh, black women are being abused, black women are constantly being abused, and that basically is being the only narrative that's been put in black film for a good 25 years at this point. And I'm just really tired of it, and I wish I could go out here and make some films on SJS Direct concepts to show you some balanced, healthy images of black women. Wish I could make a Spellbound movie, or a Spinsterella movie, or a Recipe for Success, or a Thetas, or an Eternal Night, to show you a balanced picture of black women, a balanced picture of black women that shows you their choices, the accountability as related to those choices, and show you that you are the sum of your choices. And again, not that everybody in the black community is poor and miserable, or middle class and miserable, or just miserable all around. No, that's the way Tyler Perry sees the world, but Sean James sees a completely different picture, a completely different picture where everybody isn't miserable in the black community. Now, these white racists, they love seeing miserable black people, but I'm pretty tired of seeing miserable black people. No, I grew up with The Cosby Show. I grew up with House Party. I grew up with many different movies like Hollywood Shuffle. I grew up with shows like The Parenthood. I mean, I grew up with all sorts of shows like Martin and all these other programs, which gave me balanced pictures of black life. And I just wonder, will I ever get a chance to see a balanced picture in a movie? Will I get to see a picture where black women are loved and cared about? Will I get to see a picture of black women who are seen as desirable and attractive? Will I get to see a picture of black women living very well? Will I get to see a picture of life where black people are enjoying life? I mean, I would love to see a romantic comedy like I wrote in A Recipe for Success. I would love to see a sort of fantasy comedy like I did with The Temptation of John Haynes. I would love to see, an All About Marilyn, a drama about a black woman who isn't super miserable but manages to overcome the odds. I would love to see an ensemble movie like The Thetas, where you see a black girl learning from black women in a sorority where they're not tearing down black men, but elevating the brothers and showing respect for the brothers. I would love to see a movie like A Recipe for Success, where you're seeing two black businesses coming together in a romantic comedy. I mean, I would love to see a horror novel with a black and female heroine like Eternal Night, where you're seeing a black woman again as a vampire, but she's out here trying to do her best. I mean, I want to see some stories with some hope and optimism, something we don't get from Tyler Perry and Hollywood at all. I mean, I want to see some balanced pictures and stories of black women that show black women again being lovable, attractive, and desirable, and basically again be that girl that guys want to date and girls want to be a friend with. I want to see those type of stories. I mean, Tyler Perry don't produce them, and I wish I could go out here and do it, because I want to give you a richer picture of black life, a larger world of black people not in a world of constant misery where all you see is just sadness. I mean, the last Tyler Perry movie I saw, I just was absolutely disgusted with it, because all the people were so miserable, sad, and pathetic. And again, if that's what Tyler Perry sees the world as, that's not how I see the world. Again, I see a bigger world of black people living and enjoying life, and I think people would want to see that at the movies. You would want to see a larger picture of black life, a larger picture of black life that shows us in a balanced, humanized perspective, something I would like to see, because I'm at my last straw with Tyler Perry. I can't trust him to make anything that'll show us in a good light, but I want to go out here, and again, with my writing, that's what I want to do, is show you that richer picture of black life, because I believe that when it comes to black people, we're at our last straw, because we're in this golden age where we have black fantasy coming up, black science fiction coming up. We want more, but sadly we've got gatekeepers like Tyler Perry, Oprah Winfrey, Lee Daniels, Curtis 50 Cent Jackson Esquire at the gates, keeping us from entering a new golden age of black media, and that's where new black media comes in. That's where we're going to have to usher in that golden age by circumventing these types who only want to go out here and make this anti-black misery propaganda, this poverty porn. They want to make this type of stuff as entertainment, but that's not entertainment for us. It's for white racists. And again, I believe we can do better than what these gatekeepers are looking to present us as a picture of black film and black cinema. We really need to have different voices and different pictures to show us a richer picture of black life and show us that we can be more than miserable in the company of white society. Now, if you want to pick up some of my positive black fiction on the SJS Direct imprint, you can find those books in paperback and Kindle format on Amazon.com. And you can find a variety of stories that show us a larger picture of black life. And you can find those books again at Amazon.com and other online booksellers like Draft to Digital, Google Play, Barnes & Noble, and big box retailers like Walmart and Target. And if you'd like to see me make more videos taking guys like Tyler Perry to the barbecue, you can drop a donation to the Patreon, the PayPal, or the Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and e-readers. Esteemed Season of the Witch Girl. The aspiring angel takes on a wicked teenage witch in this action-packed, all-new Esteemed series adventure. Pick up your copy of Esteemed Season of the Witch Girl in paperback and e-readers at online booksellers today. Now available in paperback and e-readers, John Haynes, A Thorn in My Side. The man who rules the world takes on an agent from the CIA from the Black Boule in this all-new John Haynes series adventure. Get your copy of John Haynes' A Thorn in My Side in paperback and e-readers at online booksellers everywhere. Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.